4 steps to make it move. Hi, my friends. Clint Stitzer with Stitzer Properties and the Purposeful Practitioner here. And one thing we've been kicking around our office this week is how do we make it move, right? I think we've all got a pretty good glut of listing inventory that we're consistently talking with our sellers and trying to find a way to get that listing competitive and make it move. We see some people doing big price reductions, tons of open houses, offering credits, all these different things. But really, what is the right formula that's going to actually make that thing move? So I have 4 steps I'm going to propose that you go through. Step number 1 is we're going to wrap our brains around the idea that that final spike that happened in the market from like December to May, when rates were crazy low and we had all these closings, we're just going boom, boom, boom. That spike is going away, okay? And it largely has already been erased, but I think that we still got a little room to go before we're back to summer, early fall 2021 close pricing, okay? So a lot of the listings that I see are listings where we took the peak comp that hit in, March, April, May of 22, and we're pricing that plus, okay? We got to let go of that. We got to let go of the idea that we just got to see what happens based on that peak comp that happened at the top of the spike, ask a little more, and then chase down on reductions or just sit there. Step number 1, that spike is going away. Step number 2 is we want to fully understand and to be able to communicate today's competitive landscape. So as of this video, it's September 2nd, which means August data isn't totally done yet. So we're just going to look at July's data. And July's data tells us that we have 208.5% more sellers, but 36.8% less buyers, okay? Closed sales down 37%, active inventory up 208%, okay? So we have the people competing for the sellers having made a huge jump, and the number of buyers that are looking at those homes that those homes are competing for has come down quite a way. So it's opened this mouth of sellers and buyers to meet in the middle, okay? That's why that spike is going away, is the competitive landscape has drastically changed. So now I know that everyone knows these things generally, but my goal is to share this data with you specifically. Again, where to look for it, where to find it, because the last step is going to make this all make sense. The key is to be able to communicate and show this to your clients. Step number 3 is we're going to execute a technique called buyer's eyes pricing. Now, I learned this from Ninja, a company in Colorado, great training company. And it's kind of like a CMA on steroids. And here's why. A CMA, you really start to follow the rules of an appraiser, right? Where it's like, hey, let me look at, within 2 miles and within 10% variation of square footage. And, you really try and tighten it down. If you have enough data, then you adjust for, hey, this one's got granite, this one doesn't. So you really get technical with it. But when you look at it through buyer's eyes pricing, you create a buyer profile for that specific house, maybe 1 or 2 buyer profiles. And then you begin to look through the lens of that specific buyer and their mentality. And all of a sudden, you begin to look at your price and your value offering a little bit differently. A great example of this was I was calling an appraiser regarding a home we were selling out in Palomino Valley that was like on 40 acres and, it was like 2,000 feet. I don't remember the size and the metrics, but I called an appraiser to say, hey, we're considering pricing this. How would you look at it from an appraisal perspective? Because I don't want to get stuck with an appraisal. He said something interesting. He goes, I know that a buyer profile that's going to look at a home in Palomino Valley is also going to look at a home in Red Rock and Ranchos. And so you're totally okay to start pulling comps, even though that might be like a 45-minute drive apart. That buyer profile is going to be okay with looking at a 40 to 120 acre parcel in Palomino Ranch or Palomino Valley, just like they would in Red Rock. So putting that mindset, all of a sudden, your home that you have listed in a certain area of the market, that buyer might be looking for those same features and be okay looking 4 or 5 miles away or even 10 miles away, right? So if you go through buyer's eyes pricing and you really personify that person and you look at it, your listing through the lens of your price, through the lens of your location as it pertains to convenience and views and all those different things. You look at it through the lens of size of the home and size of the lot and features and amenities of the home and the neighborhood. And then of course, condition. And all of a sudden, if you're like $100,000 or $50,000 difference, then a similar experience that buyer is okay with in a neighborhood that's just a little ways away, but you didn't experience it in your comps, all of a sudden you have a much better way to present and price the value of your offering. Now, the 4th step, which is the most important, is that it matters who says it. And here's what I mean. You can study these Domus Analytics charts till you're blue in the face. You can go through the buyer's eyes pricing exercise and pretend that you're the ideal buyer for the property that you have listed, and realize that that same buyer might see something in another neighborhood, another community of comparable lifestyle that's priced drastically different. But unless your client comes to that realization based on seeing the data and experiencing that from themselves, you're going to have a hard time getting buy-in. Okay? So the fourth step is being able to understand this data at a deep level, these tools at a deep level. Buyer's eyes pricing, a virtual tour. We like to call it a virtual drive around. We'll all sit down and put it up on their TV in the living room and start saying, okay, well, when you were looking for this house, what did you like about it? And then start searching for that in other areas of the market. It's more important that you have the ability to take people through this process of discovery so that they can arrive at the conclusion, as opposed to you telling them. Because if you tell them something, it comes off as my agent is trying to get me to do something I don't want to do because they just want to get a commission. But if you take them through the journey of discovery based on facts, and then they come to the conclusion that, man, for this to move, we really got to make XYZ changes, then you've got participation, you've got buy-in, and you're an advisor. You're not a salesperson trying to push an initiative. I hope that you found these 4 steps helpful to make it move. Gosh, I really hope that you are able to take your listings, make the adjustments you need, the ones that aren't selling, and get them sold. If you want to talk about it, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. This is Clint Stitzer with Stitzer Properties and the Personal Practitioner, wishing you great success in your career.